You're watching ABC7 News at 4, starting with First Alert Weather.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Hope you had a great weekend. There were some big storms around in the afternoon and evening with that east wind, and there are again this afternoon. Some heavy rainfall, and we have a chance to see some bigger storms, I think, over the next hour or so as that east coast breeze makes its way all the way over. You can see those showers traveling through parts of central Florida now along into eastern portions of Manatee County. There's an outflow boundary and the east coast breeze right there. The west coast breeze is pretty much pinned right along the coastline, and that's going to create the convergence setup right there. You see that west coast breeze right there, and that's the reason why these storms are a little bit more intense down there. It's already reached down into South County near Inglewood, stretching up toward Venice, and then some showers starting to break out near Bayshore Gardens and also southward down near the airport right now where they're getting some rainfall. That activity, as I said, should get a little bit more intense as we move through the next hour or so. You can see most of the winds now out of the east and northeast up and down the coast with the exception of the immediate west coast, and that's where that west coast sea breeze is kind of pinned, and that's where we're going to see those bigger storms firing up over the next couple of hours. So be advised that although you may not be getting rain right now, you will be, I think, in the next hour or so. Well, much more on our weather forecast. Let you know if this pattern is going to continue coming up in just a few minutes. Scott, Jacqueline.
All right, Bob, thank you. Topping our news at 4, investigators are now working with the FBI as the search for a motive continues this hour after a gunman opened fire at a crowded video game tournament in Jacksonville.
Police have identified the alleged gunman as 24-year-old David Katz, who was an avid gamer who regularly competed in these big money tournaments. At least 2 people were killed, nearly a dozen others injured, before police say the suspect took his own life at the Jacksonville Landing complex on Sunday. Just moments before the shooting, a live stream inside the event captured a laser dot appearing on one player's chest.
My first reaction, I heard the shots and I thought, why is there firecrackers in here? And then I actually got hit, and I'd never been shot before.
Why the suspect went on this rampage remains unknown, but witnesses say he lost in this tournament early on. Authorities say the outcome could have been much worse if it wasn't for a group of firefighters who just happened to be nearby conducting a training session. Here at home, a local boater says he's now counting his blessings after getting stuck in a storm this past weekend and almost losing everything, including his first mate.
This wasn't a weekend cruise around Sarasota Bay. The captain had sold everything he owned and was planning on sailing around the world with just the necessities and his greatest companion, his dog Harley. Now, this is what Shane Hale's sailboat looked like after he got caught in a massive storm on Saturday night, just 3 miles off the shore. His boat getting pounded by the wind and his GPS showing him spinning for hours. During all of this, his first mate Harley fell overboard and got taken with the storm. Luckily, Shane made it out alive and was towed back to shore by Venecito in the U.S. Coast Guard, but Harley was nowhere in sight. That's when he went to social media asking for the public's help. Less than 24 hours later, he received a call that his best friend had swam to shore and was at Minnesota Beach. Tonight at 6, Shane will tell his story, and you'll get to see how these two were being reunited with the only thing that matters to them right now.
A 62-year-old boater who was reported missing off the Florida Keys is now safe and sound thanks to his son and the U.S. Coast Guard. Crews spotted Robert Vonnegut's 10-foot blue and white boat about 2 miles off the coast. His son had called the Coast Guard last night to report his father missing when Vonnegut did not return from a day trip in that boat. Number 4, a Venice woman is facing arson charges after sheriff's deputies say she set a garage door on fire last month. The victim in the case called 911 on July 22nd and reported someone had set her garage door on fire using a gas can from the side of the home. Investigators determined the fire was set intentionally, and a K-9 team tracked the suspect to a nearby home. A witness was able to identify the suspect, and on August 21st, Jessica Horovic was charged with arson. And a Northport man is now behind bars for grand theft. Police were looking for this man who was seen leaving a Walmart with a pool noodle. Police say Justin Labrie had returned a wallet at Walmart, but not before taking all the money out of it. Labrie is now charged with grand theft of more than $300. Jacqueline joins us now for more details on Senator John McCain's memorial services.
Scott, as the tributes for Senator John McCain continue to pour in, the McCain family now sharing plans for his memorial services and funeral. McCain will lie in state at the Arizona Capitol on Wednesday on what would have been his 82nd birthday. On Thursday, former Vice President Joe Biden is expected to provide a eulogy at his memorial service. McCain's body will then lie at the U.S. Capitol Rotunda, where the senator's colleagues and staff, along with the public, will pay tribute to his decades of service on Capitol Hill.
I've admired him, like I said, my entire life, and it's tough to imagine a Senate without him. It's tough to imagine politics without John McCain, but we need to go on.
Well, just about 30 minutes ago, the American flag at the White House has been moved back to half-staff after it was raised to full staff this morning. At the Capitol, the flag remains at half-staff in his honor. Now to the call for Pope Francis to resign on the heels of the bombshell grand jury report about sex abuse in the Catholic Church. Archbishop Carlo Vigano claims that Pope Francis knew for at least 5 years that former Washington, D.C. Cardinal Theodore McCarrick was a serial predator, but that he only removed McCarrick last month. Pope Francis said a solitary prayer at a perpetual candle lit for sexual abuse victims and denounced the abuse and the cover-up as repugnant crimes.
I've listened to him apologizing, but I see no action. And that's what I want. I want action.
The sexual abuse crisis is now center stage in the Catholic Church. What Pope Francis chooses to do and not do about the crisis next may have long-term effects for his reputation. President Trump is announcing that the United States and Mexico have now reached a preliminary pact on new trade regulations. The emerging agreement will be called the United States-Mexico Trade Agreement. Trump says it will mark the end of the NAFTA name. These negotiations are all part of the Trump administration's effort to modernize the North American Free Trade Agreement with an eye toward shrinking America's trade deficit. Well, let's send it back to Scott for Manatee County's plan to address red tide impacts. Scott?
Jacqueline, Manatee County is now in what's being called maintenance mode. This is the next step in the red tide recovery effort. Instead of contracting with a company to pick up red tide debris in residential canals and waterways, the county is now moving forward with a Neighbors and Nets program. The county will provide nets and buckets for volunteers who want to help clean up dead fish. Those supplies can be picked up at any of the 15 dumpster locations at boat ramps in the county. Meantime, Sarasota County government is taking red tide debris to the Sarasota County landfill. The county will continue to clean up only county-owned or maintained public beaches. More than 165 tons of red tide debris has been picked up so far. The Sarasota County landfill is on Knights Trail Road in Nokomis. Lots of local resorts and restaurants are still taking a big financial hit because of red tide. And in an effort to get customers back into those restaurants, a local website is offering a digital coupon that customers can download to use for free drinks, appetizers, and desserts. You can find more information on this coupon campaign as well as all of our red tide coverage on our website. Just go to mysuncoast.com. Still to come on ABC7 News at 4, the location for a new stadium where the Atlanta Braves will play in 2020 will sit on a historic bombing site. Plus, a baby with almost 2,000 followers on Facebook goes viral after graduating from the NICU. And officers in New Mexico survive a close call when a shoplifting suspect they were chasing on foot turns around and opens fire.
About every 3 minutes in America, someone is diagnosed with a blood cancer. Light the Night brings together survivors and supporters to bring light to the darkness of cancer and to help fund life-saving research. Our goal is a world without blood cancers, and we're lighting the path to cures. The discoveries made in blood cancer research have led to breakthrough treatments for many cancers and other serious diseases. Help defeat the darkness of cancer. Join Light the Night today.
If you're looking for the perfect trip that allows you to spend quality time with the family, then discover the great outdoors on an Alabama Black Belt adventure. Create unforgettable memories while hunting, canoeing, camping, and more. Or challenge yourself on Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, now celebrating 25 years. And while you're here, enjoy a Deep South dining experience. Book your adventure in one of our members' lodges or stay at the Renaissance Montgomery Hotel and Spa. Start planning an Alabama Black Belt adventure today.
Hello, Mom.
Amanda's mom's appointment just got rescheduled for today. Amanda needs right at home.
Our customized care plan provides as much or as little help as her mom requires, whether it's a ride to the doctor or help around the house.
Oh, of course. Tom, I am really sorry. I've got to go.
Look, call right at home. Get the right care right at home.
Another pair of satisfied emotions. Looks to me like elation and maybe some amazement. It's part of the Honda Summer Spectacular event experience. You could say satisfaction comes standard here, just like the Honda Accord comes standard with a luxurious, roomy interior. All at the Honda Summer Spectacular event.
We see it all the time.
Visit your local Honda dealer and test drive the Honda Accord, 2018's North American Car of the Year.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TrueStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TrueStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
The Atlanta Braves are approaching final phases of construction for their new spring training facility, and so far nothing has blown up. That's good news, because the site that's near what used to be a bombing range during World War II. ABC7's Taylor Torregano is live there now with details. Taylor?
Good evening, Scott. This is as far as we can go to, or as close as we can go, rather, to the construction today because this roadblock is stopping us. But just past here is where that $100 million facility is currently being constructed. Now, this land was donated to the Braves by developers West Villages, but well before the groundbreaking of this training facility, according to this fact sheet, the Army Corps of Engineers came out to the 2,500 acres a number of times to evaluate if there is the potential of any debris remaining from the Army's bomb training. The area south of US 41, about 4 miles east of South Venice, was formerly used by the Army, who set up a target consisting of 3 rings for crews to practice dropping bombs from low altitudes. In 2010, the Corps completed a site inspection and found that no munitions or munitions debris remained on site. We'll have more from the city of Northport and Westlake Villages about what they have to say about all of this coming up at 6 p.m. For now, I'm live in Northport. Taylor Torregano, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
All right, Taylor, thank you. As of today, more than 1.8 million Floridians have already voted early or by mail ahead of tomorrow's primary election. More than 56,000 Sarasota County voters already have cast ballots. That's an unusually high voter turnout and may even set a county record. Republicans outnumbered Democrats in voting by mail, while more Democrats than Republicans went to an early voting site. If you haven't voted yet, polls will open tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. Florida voters will be selecting the party nominees for governor, agriculture commissioner, attorney general, and several congressional seats. And in Sarasota and Manatee counties, voters will also be choosing nominees for several school board and commission seats. The polls will close at 7 p.m. and we will bring you all the results as soon as we get them live in our 7 and 11 o'clock newscast, as well as on the web and our Facebook page. Let's get back to Jacqueline, who's in the newsroom now for a look at what's trending.
Scott, Spanish police seized a load of pineapples from Costa Rica that packed a lot more than just a fruity punch. Hidden inside that fruit, authorities found about 147 pounds of cocaine. The pineapples were emptied and each one was filled with a cylinder coated with wax to insulate the odor of the drug. As part of this operation, 7 people were arrested in Madrid and in Barcelona. A man who led police on a foot chase opened fire on officers in New Mexico. That shooting happened outside of a Walmart in Albuquerque. After the store reported a possible shoplifter, police then confronted the man. He led police on a foot chase, and that's when he allegedly fired shots as an officer was closing in. Amazingly, no one was injured in this. Now the suspect was tracked to a nearby house where officers used gas to force him out. Well, he can't walk yet, but that didn't stop this baby in Alabama from enjoying his graduation day. The neonatal intensive care unit at the University of South Alabama held a graduation ceremony for Cullen Potter. Cullen was born at 22 weeks and 2 days, weighing a little less than 14 ounces, but he is defying all odds. Before he left, his nurse carried him through the hallway to celebrate his big day. Cullen's mom, Molly, bought his tiny little cap and gown at, get this, a Build-A-Bear store. Well, let's send it back to Scott for a recall alert on something that might be in your medicine cabinet. Scott?
That's right, Jacqueline. The pharmaceutical company Pfizer is recalling children's Advil suspension. The dosage cup included in the package is marked in teaspoons, while the instructions are described in milliliters. Those differences could make it easy for an overdose to happen. The recalled bottles are the bubblegum flavored 4-ounce bottles with an expiration date of November of 2020. If you have the medication, you can return it to the store where you bought it for a full refund. Now to Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan for our first alert weather.
Scott, they are back. Afternoon and evening thunderstorms. We saw them over the weekend, producing continuous lightning, it seemed, on Saturday. Not as much on Sunday, but still a lot of rain. We are looking at the southeasterly wind flow. We'll start off with sunshine like we did this morning, and then fair weather cumulus clouds through the early afternoon. Notice this is all east wind right there at Lakewood Ranch, and now we're starting to see the storms rolling in with that east coast breeze, and it's moving at a pretty good clip too. Now we've had some storms breaking out near Englewood. High pressure is in the right place finally. By the way, we have had so much west wind. This is the driest on record for the month of August west of the interstate at the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport. Afternoon showers and storms through the week. Expect dangerous lightning to be back. Right now, not much out there, but there are a few already. Winds to be out of the southeast through the early afternoon, and then that little west coast breeze will develop, and it'll get pinned right near the interstate. So a lot of the rain will really start to fire up near the coast today, and that will continue, I think, through the week. Now, we are looking at that line of intense storms. Not much going on the east coast in this situation, and with that high pressure and east wind, it looks like we're going to see that collision every afternoon with the sea breeze front. Now we're starting to see a lot of lightning located down near just to the west of Rotunda, near Englewood, also into South Venice. This cell in particular is going to have a chance to really get going, I think, once it reaches the interstate. So we'll keep an eye on that. Right now it's in the central Manatee and Sarasota counties. Most of the lightning near Englewood is offshore, but you're still close enough to get these bolts that are sent out from the storm, even behind the storm. You can see that one where it's not raining north of Englewood, and near South Venice getting some heavy rainfall. Near Bayshore Gardens, this is just kind of sitting there, moving to the west, but the east coast breeze is still here. Once these two get together, there's a little bit more convergence set up, and you can see that quite clearly, that line stretching right down through Parrish into Bradenton, all the way down to near Siesta Key. So that's why I say this storm in particular could have a little bit more of a chance to fire up here down the road. And we're looking at this pattern continuing with plenty of moisture around. The rain chances will stay pretty high, and so even though August may not go down as the driest on record, because we're going to see a lot of the rain near the interstate and to the west thereof. The forecast model showing showers and storms continuing to around 7 o'clock, and then we'll see some inland storms winding down, and then mostly fair after midnight. We'll start off with another nice day with temperatures on the mid-70s and the mid-70s to lower 70s, and then once again, afternoon and evening storms, something we haven't seen much at all this summer due to the unusual fronts that have been making their way down into the southeast United States. Well, the forecast is not going to change much even on Wednesday. A little bit better chance, I think, as we head into the weekend, as there's a little disturbance that'll be nearby. So Saturday and Sunday could be very active again. Well, in the tropics, not very active at all, but we are watching several tropical waves moving out in the eastern portion of the Atlantic right now. No chance of them developing, but those will be interesting to watch as we see those move across the Atlantic. Well, we got rid of Lane, and now we have Miriam. Miriam is a tropical storm, but Miriam is heading off toward, you guessed it, Hawaii, and it is expected to gain some strength too. The Pacific very active this season. 83 right now at the airport. We have a shower nearby. It has cooled down a little bit there. East winds are at 9. Tomorrow's forecast, we'll start out with sunshine, showers and storms in the afternoon. Heat index up near 100 again in the afternoon. Early afternoon it'll be around 100 to 101. Well, big storms fired up over the weekend over the mid-Mississippi Valley and throughout the Great Lakes. Those are now shifting off to the northeast. Temperatures into the 90s in places like St. Louis and Chicago and Detroit. That's the expected high tomorrow. Cleveland will get up to 91, cooler air over the northern plains and northern Rockies. For boaters tomorrow, winds out of the southeast at 10 knots, just a little bit of a west coast breeze developing in the afternoon. Seas will be running 1 to 2 feet with a light chop out there. And the 7-day forecast is calling for good chances for scattered showers and storms a little bit more so even through Labor Day. We'll have high temperatures close to seasonal averages into the upper 80s to low 90s. Once again, the app proved to be a valuable tool over the weekend with updates from Wendy Ross, as well as the lightning detection network that we saw. That lot of tremendous lightning, so much social media talking about it, about how many strikes there were, and there were over thousands of strikes along the west coast of Florida. So we're back in the thick of things. Download our app and look for ABC7 First Alert Weather app.
We've missed this typical
we sure have.
Summer weather, you know. All right. Well, let's talk about, you mentioned Hawaii. They did dodge a direct hit by Hurricane Lane, which was downgraded to a tropical storm over the weekend. But the Big Island still dealing with flooding issues. Some areas there hit by about 4 feet of rain. Downpours flooded out entire neighborhoods, created dangerous road hazards. So far, 39 people have been rescued. Homeowners are slowly moving back in when the waters recede, and they are determined to rebuild no matter the loss there.
And it could have been much worse. However, while rivers are taking floodwaters out to the Pacific Ocean, crews are working around the clock to make sure debris doesn't back up those flows, and they could see more rain in a few days from now.
Oh boy. Well, people living in Rushville, Indiana are cleaning up today after a strong storm hit the area Saturday night. All around Rushville, remnants of that storm are still noticeable, from broken branches, toppled trees. National Weather Service and emergency crews headed out yesterday to survey whether that area was hit by a tornado.
Yeah, numerous storm reports coming out of Indiana on Saturday night. They determined that the 100-mile-an-hour were straight line winds caused the damage after a microburst. Those winds toppled the barn, tore up trees, and flattened crops in the fields. Not only that, the flattened crops were a result of the heavy hail that were damaging cars and buildings. Crews will continue to work over the next few days to get that last part of the debris cleaned up after those tremendous storms over the weekend.
Wow. All right, Bob, thank you. There's still more to come in your Suncoast News. A red Ferrari sold over the weekend set a new record. Well, how much one person paid for this classic when we come back.
Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie Roberts. Here's what's coming up tomorrow morning at 9 on Suncoast View. We know red tide is still in our Suncoast waters, but what does it mean for our bodies? We're going to talk to a local physician about how it's impacting allergies and our respiratory systems and what you can do to alleviate its effects. Plus, we'll learn how to fight back against red tide with the power of plants. That's all coming up tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. We'll see you then.
Investigate TV tackles the tough topics.
What happened to my life was awful.
When your health is compromised, we investigate.
They are really drug dealers in white coats.
Corporate greed exposed.
How do you trust them to run this program?
The powerful held accountable with in-depth journalism led by award-winning journalist Lee Zurich. We're your watchdog. Search Investigate TV on your Roku device. Download it now.
Frances Collier and Angela V. Shelton have been best friends for 19 years.
Actually, it's 21 years, but who's counting?
Taking America by storm, this comedy duo decided to call themselves Frangela.
Well, actually, people can never tell us apart. Like, I'm a foot taller.
They're the host of a new kind of daytime talk that's all about you.
I'm in.
Meet Time with Frangela. Premieres September 10th.
Oh, he sounds cute. My friend is single.
Meet Time. Florida's coral reefs are declining. Bad news for our oceans and marine life. Fortunately, you can help, and you don't have to dive, you just have to drive. When you purchase Moat's Protect Our Reefs license plate, $25 goes directly to Moat Marine Laboratory, whose research, restoration, and conservation programs are helping this precious natural resource thrive once again. So get your Moat Protect Our Reefs license plate today. You just might hold the key to saving Florida's reefs.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
When my youngest, Addie, was 2.5, she was diagnosed with leukemia. When we first heard that diagnosis, you feel extremely alone. Walking in that Light the Night light with 6,000 people carrying lights, white for survivors, red for supporters. gold in memory of those who have passed. It's the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's hope that every year there are fewer gold lanterns. Your lantern will make a difference.
Start a team, join a team.
Help us light the night.
Every day we take steps to keep the people we love safe, but some health risks are easy to miss. Ticks hiding in the yard can spread germs, like the ones that cause Lyme disease. Mice searching for food can spread bacteria that makes us sick. Mosquitoes lay eggs in standing water and can spread West Nile virus and more. Cockroaches are drawn to water in the home, leaving behind allergens that can trigger asthma attacks. Common pests can threaten our health. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org.
This Ferrari is the most valuable car ever sold in public auction, selling for a record-breaking $48 million. The 1962 Ferrari 250 GTO sold Saturday at Sotheby's Monterey collector car sale in California. Only 3 dozen of these were ever made, but they are all still running. GTOs are so pricey because they were dominant racing cars in the 60s, and they are beautiful to look at as well. All right, let's get back to Jacqueline in the newsroom now for more of the stories we're working on tonight.
Scott, after months of minimal reports of sick seabirds, Save Our Seabirds has had over 30 dying birds come in just today. Coming up tonight at 5, we'll hear where these birds were found and how red tide is also affecting them. And tonight at 6, weekend storms flooded some Sarasota streets. What's being done to make sure it doesn't happen again? And at 7, the Florida primary is just hours away from the race for governor, Congress, to the school board races. Alan Cohn will have everything you need to know. Let's send it back to Bob for a final look at your forecast.
Thanks, Jacqueline. We're looking at sunset tonight, maybe a little bit disruptive because of the storms that'll be around. Winds will be out of the northeast at 5 to 10. Most of the activity, I think, should be over by then. Sunset happening at 7:56 now, so each day is getting a little shorter and shorter. Winds will be out of the northeast by then at 5 to 10. Right now, there's a little west coast breeze developing. Look at these storms firing up offshore just near Inglewood. Now, Inglewood has had their fair share of rainfall. It's spreading up toward Venice, but this one really starting to gain some strength and traction as it heads to the west. So folks are right there at Fruitville, also in Bee Ridge, Clark Road. You're going to see some heavy rainfall there in the next half hour. You can see this line right there. That's the east coast breeze really racing to the west, and the west coast breeze is pinned up right near the coastline. That rain in Venice stretching up to Nokomis and Osprey right now, with the heaviest rain by far east of I-75 near Hidden River, and some heavy shores near Bayshore Gardens. Scott?
All right, Bob, thank you. Thank you for joining us on ABC7 News at 4. We'll invite you back in 30 minutes.